So you're looking into getting a Scimitar Pro. Well, it is a mouse with a lot of buttons, and I will tell you my experience and everything there is to know about it that will help you to decide if you should buy this or not. GMODISM. I'm Eric and you're watching GMODISM. I have been the proud owner of a Corsair Scimitar RGB mouse with a lot of buttons. It's still on the market. I've used this mouse for 5 years, so I will be able to show you a little bit the pros and cons with this mouse and what you can expect and what the drawbacks are, so that you can decide if this mouse is really for you. I have used it for 5 years and you can see we are starting to get some wear and tear on the buttons here, but so far they don't look bad, they just look a little bit worn. We have some weird damage here and I wish I could tell you what that comes from. I have no idea. Maybe it stood close to something hot sometime, I don't know. The little feet down here, they're not worn through, but they are, you know, starting to look a little bit worn. But honestly, I think it held up pretty good visually, right? Now, there is the other thing here. The scroll button stopped working. I kid you not, it just stopped working. I couldn't use the middle mouse button. It stopped working. It was so annoying. And I looked at some different tutorials online and I found out in a text-based tutorial that another Corsair model had that issue. Apparently, there can come in microdust inside the switch, which makes it not work. It is, however, fixable, usually. Then you have to spam the middle mouse button really hard, repeatedly, for a good amount of time. I have a little tutorial about how to do that, and then it usually starts working again. Now, don't break the plastic axle inside of it. I guess if you're really violent with your computer mice, I think this might break pretty easily. Now, it hasn't broken for me for 5 years, but I'm pretty gentle with my gear, so there is that too. Now, when it comes to using this mouse, it has a good amount of glide like most mice do. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just standard. Now, this cable is a little bit hard and can get into the way a little bit. It never folds nicely, it always looks a little bit, you know, weird. It's also a bit heavy, like this cable is a bit heavy, so you really feel it when you use it. Now, and that's not a big deal with this mouse, because it is super heavy anyways, like man. Sometimes I don't switch my mouse and I use this for FPS games as well, and it's insane. You go like this and you go like that, and you are like panicking, so you're like pressing, you're like pressing a lot of buttons, and it's absolutely crazy, because then anything can happen, because you have all sorts of shortcuts and all sorts of weird stuff happen when you accidentally press all these buttons at once, because you're kind of getting excited or whatever. And also, if you want to lift this mouse, it is so heavy, and obviously you have to like grab the button area-ish a little bit, and then you can accidentally press some buttons too. So when you're playing FPS games and you're doing like this and then you're like lifting it, you can then press all sorts of buttons. So it's not really a good FPS gameplay mouse, right? I guess that doesn't come as a big surprise, of course not. It's not what this mouse is meant for, but can be good to know that this is probably not gonna be your only mouse, because then you're gonna run into all sorts of issues. If you like the design of this desk mount, you can support the channel by buying it. It uses natural rubber and is a pretty decent quality. Links in the description. Now, clicking on this mouse feels pretty nice. I think it has a nice click resistance and sound. The buttons on the side do feel a little bit cheap, and this entire area kind of rattles a little bit, so there is that. And again, the middle mouse button, even if it's never gonna stop working or act up for you, it's still not a nice experience to click this scroll button. It's, you know, not one of the better scroll buttons to click, so there's that too. Also, these buttons can be accidentally pressed to switch profiles. They're a little bit, you know, easy to access, and I kind of turn them off so that they won't do weird things when I'm using the mouse. Now, ergonomics. This mouse is a pretty large mouse, I think. But it's not like super large. So the weird thing is that it is perfect size for my like index finger, or it goes a little bit over, but it's okay. But for my long finger, it kind of goes over here, so it's slightly uncomfortable for me to use. Also, when you're using this mouse, you don't know where to put your little finger, so your little finger kind of tends to drag a little bit in the mouse mat, which can be a little bit annoying. So sometimes when I use this mouse, I even lift my little finger to not make it get into the way, or kind of fold it in somehow. So yeah, it's not the most ergonomic mouse, but if you have small hands, it's probably gonna be a terrible experience to use this. I don't know where the line goes, but I recommend you go to a store and just try it out first, because I imagine if my fingers kind of reached here, these buttons wouldn't be very comfortable to use, right? But in honesty, it's probably built for people with average size hands in some kind of international average or something. You may not like it, that's all I'm saying. I tried it out before I bought it and I thought it was okay. It was not perfect, but it was definitely what I was looking for in terms of the buttons. Now, the thing is with these buttons and all, they're all good and nice to use, and I think they're easy to find too when I press here. Like I can use the top of my thumb to find these ones and these ones and these ones, and then I can use the back joint of my thumb to activate the bottom row or even the row before it. So I think it's pretty ergonomic and easy to find those buttons. So I really like that about this mouse, that we have a lot of shortcuts. Now, to use these shortcuts, you will have to use IQ. And IQ is not like IQ, it's like IQ, and it's absolutely stupid. IQ is the worst RGB software there is. I have a tutorial on how to configure it, and I will make a new one too, because it's a little bit old, and that will teach you how to do it if you decide to go with Corsair, or if you have other things with Corsair and you're just confused. So configuring these buttons is not going to be intuitive or easy. It's of course possible, but IQ is a bad, buggy software. Fortunately, this mouse has an onboard storage, so some of the commands, not all, you can save onto the mouse itself. So actually right now, I don't even have IQ installed because it crashes and acts up a little bit too often. So in general, I heard that the other mouse with a lot of buttons, which is like Razer or something, has even worse quality than this. I don't know if that's true because I never owned it, but yeah, make with that what you will. Obviously, it's not abysmal because I have been using it for 5 years and it works. I'm just telling you that you should know what you're getting into, right? So, hope you like that. Well, I hope that was useful for you. Do leave a like, that will make me very happy, and you should definitely subscribe to the channel if you want some creative sandbox games and otherwise tech tutorials or reviews like this. Up here you find some relaxing content on the Relaxism channel too, and my extra channel there. I hope I'll be seeing you next time. So this is your host Eric of GMODISM signing out.